The lie your brain told before you even noticed. You think your brain protects you. You think it tells you the truth. You think it keeps your world stable, your identity intact, your memories aligned with who you believe you are. But it lies. It lies beautifully, effortlessly, automatically. Not to deceive you, but to protect the version of yourself you're terrified of losing. Cognitive dissonance isn't a flaw, it's survival. A shield that bends reality whenever the truth cuts too deep. The moment your actions contradict your beliefs, your brain chooses comfort over honesty. It rewrites details. It rearranges memories. It invents logic where none exists, not because you're weak, but because your identity is the most fragile thing you own. If you felt a chill reading this, it wasn't the words. It was the recognition that somewhere inside you, a belief is trembling. That's the first sign your brain is negotiating with itself.
Number 10. The first crack in your belief. It always starts small. A contradiction so tiny you almost ignore it. He believed he was honest, trustworthy, principled. Then one day, he told a small lie to avoid embarrassment. Nothing major, nothing harmful, but his stomach tightened. His heartbeat changed. His brain whispered, "That's not who I am." And instead of facing the truth, he invented a justification. It was necessary. It wasn't really a lie. Anyone would have done the same. That's dissonance, the clash between who you think you are and what you actually do. Your brain hates the clash. So, it repairs the story before you even notice the fracture. Human trigger. The smallest contradiction triggers the biggest rewrite. Emotion shift. Recognition to unease. You didn't avoid the truth. Your brain hid it before you could see it.
Number 9. The story you rewrite without knowing. When reality threatens identity, memory becomes clay. He remembered the argument differently each time he replayed it. Less blame on himself, more blame on them. A slightly adjusted tone, a softened accusation. Not to deceive the world, but to protect the image he clung to. The human mind edits memories not for accuracy, but for comfort. This is retroactive self-preservation. You rewrite the past to survive the present. Human trigger. Memory folds to protect identity. Emotion shift. Unease to suspicion. You don't remember what happened. You remember what your brain needed you to believe. Number 8. The pain of being wrong. No one fears the truth. We fear what the truth means about us. When confronted with evidence that contradicts his beliefs, he felt a burn in his chest, a tightening, an instinctive rejection. This wasn't stubbornness, it was survival. Being wrong felt like an attack on the most precious thing he owned, his self-concept. So he rationalized, dismissed, argued, minimized, not because the evidence was weak, but because the implication was unbearable. Human trigger. Truth becomes threat when identity is fragile. Emotion shift. Suspicion to defensiveness. You don't defend your beliefs. You defend the version of yourself built on them.
Number 7. The identity that fights back. Cognitive dissonance isn't logical. It's emotional warfare. He believed he was compassionate. Then he ignored someone's pain. A harmless moment, but enough to fracture his self-image. His brain scrambled. Excuses formed instantly. I was busy. They're exaggerating. I'm not obligated to help. Identity doesn't like being threatened, so it builds a defense system faster than you can blink. Human trigger. The brain protects identity faster than it processes reality. Emotion shift. Defensiveness to rationalization. You didn't justify your actions, your identity demanded protection.
Number 6. The logic you manufacture on demand. Once your brain commits to a belief, logic becomes a tool, not for truth, but for reinforcement. He made a bad choice, and instead of admitting it, he built a narrative around it. Actually, this works better. I meant to do that. It's not my fault. This is fine. The mind bends reason into beautiful shapes whenever reality threatens its stability. Human trigger. Logic is the mind's most elegant weapon for lying to itself. Emotion shift. Rationalization to discomfort. You didn't reason your way to the conclusion. You reasoned your way toward comfort.
Number 5. The splitting of two selves. Cognitive dissonance creates two versions of you, the one who acted and the one who believes something else. He promised to quit, promised himself it would be the last time, promised he wouldn't return to the habit. Then he slipped, and the fracture returned. His brain whispered, "You deserve this. You had a hard day. It's just this once." But these were not comforting thoughts. They were negotiations, two versions of him fighting for control. Human trigger. Dissonance splits identity to preserve equilibrium. Emotion shift. Discomfort to fragmentation. You didn't lose control. You lost alignment.
Number 4. The beliefs you can't afford to change. Some beliefs aren't held because they're true, but because losing them would break you. He clung to his worldview even when facts shredded it, not because he was stubborn, but because the alternative would destroy years of meaning. When identity is built on a belief, truth becomes an existential threat. Human trigger. People reject truth not because it's false, but because it's costly. Emotion shift. Fragmentation to panic. You don't fear being wrong. You fear who you'll become if you accept it.
Number 3. The reality you twist to stay whole. His friend confronted him kindly, showed him the evidence, explained the contradiction, and yet he pushed back harder. Anger, defensiveness, rejection. Because sometimes the truth doesn't heal, it breaks. So the mind twists reality just enough to preserve the person you were yesterday. Human trigger. Reality bends where identity risks breaking. Emotion shift. Panic to collapse. You didn't reject the truth. You protected the version of you that couldn't handle it.
Number 2. The moment the illusion cracks. Every mind has a breaking point, a moment when the truth becomes too loud to mute. For him, it wasn't dramatic. No explosion, no crisis. Just a quiet moment. A sentence he couldn't justify. A thought he couldn't silence. His brain hesitated. And in the hesitation, the lie he'd been living began to crumble. Human trigger. Dissonance collapses when contradictions stack faster than excuses. Emotion shift. Collapse to silence. You don't wake up when you're ready. You wake up when the lie can't hold your weight anymore.
Number 1. When the brain finally surrenders. Acceptance doesn't arrive gently. It arrives like cold water on the spine. He exhaled, a long breath. The first honest breath in years. He admitted it, not to others, but to himself. I was wrong. I lied to myself. I chose comfort over truth. There was no collapse, no loss of identity, only a strange clarity, a sense of becoming whole after living split in two. Human trigger. The end of dissonance feels like rebirth. Emotion shift. Silence to awakening. You don't lose yourself when you admit the truth. You reclaim the self you abandoned.
When you finally see your own mind. Once you recognize cognitive dissonance, the world looks different. But the person who changes most is you. You start noticing the moments you rewrite memories, the moments you reshape beliefs, the moments you twist logic just to avoid discomfort. And something powerful happens. You begin catching the lies your brain tells before they finish forming. Not to destroy yourself, but to rebuild yourself honestly. If your breath changed at any point, if a memory surfaced, if a contradiction suddenly felt heavy, it means your mind just opened a door it had been guarding for years. Walk through it. Because once you see cognitive dissonance for what it truly is, a defense mechanism, not a flaw, you stop fearing the truth. You start aligning with it. If you're still here, still reading, still aware, your awakening has already begun. Share this before someone else keeps living a lie their brain refuses to question.